Hello, and welcome to Under 1000. My name's Thomas Flower, and each episode I'll read you a new piece of flash fiction. All of the stories are 1000 words or less. Today, I'll be reading Tuear. Please be aware that this episode deals with themes of existential horror, so if that's likely to upset you or anyone that you're listening with, then you might want to skip this one. At the end of the universe, past the moon and the stars and every single planet you could ever possibly hope to see with either your eye or any kind of tool in existence or which could ever be invented, far, far past it all, at the very border of space itself, sits Tuear. Tuear is gigantic, bigger than the universe it sits next to, and yet, Tuear is also imperceptible, being so outside our understanding of reality and so much greater than anything we have ever seen that trying to look upon it would be like bacteria attempting to understand the mechanics of a spaceship. Nobody and nothing sees Tuear at all, forever. Tuear only sits and waits and sits and waits for billions upon billions of years, for the day when it will finally be time once again. Tuear remembers the last time such a day came. It opened its mouths, every single one of them, and inhaled for an entire year, watching as the universe was sucked away piece by piece until each and every part lay on Tuear's massive, vicious tongues. Every comet, every nebula, every galaxy and every shred of moon dust was taken in as Tuear sat, waiting for the process to be complete. And then, and finally it was, Tuear destroyed it all, with teeth 10 times the size of even the largest planet. Tuear ripped every atom from every other atom, consuming voraciously until all that was left was a pile of powdered dust sitting atop the many tongues. And then, finally, and at last, Tuear swallowed and felt satisfied. Once the process was complete, Tuear sat and watched, enraptured, as a new universe sprang forth where the old one had once been. Tuear looked on, patiently, as it grew, expanded and ripened like fruit. And Tuear still watches now, waiting for the day when its hunger grows too strong and the universe has reached its peak and the timing is absolutely correct. Nobody knows. Nobody could ever know. Nobody will ever know how many times Tuear has repeated this cycle. You might imagine that Tuear itself would keep track, but that would be to apply your own reasoning to this grand behemoth. Tuear does not care for records, numbers, patterns, or scorekeeping. It has no knowledge of such things at all. All it knows is the hunger which scratches away like bristling knives inside its many chambers, and the relief it feels when finally it can consume again. Everything else is just watching and waiting. To Tuear there is no other life, no other pastime, no other form of existence. The cycle of hunger and satisfaction is all that matters, all that has ever mattered, and all that will ever matter. You may think that Tuear is some kind of god. Such a thought would make sense, at least with our definition of the almighty and the divine. And certainly you might worship Tuear as a god, some all-powerful being beyond our imaginings and outside our realm of control. But such worship would have no effect or impact. Tuear is no god in the classical sense. It is simply a vast, incomprehensible beast, a natural process given flesh and 1,000 stomachs which hunger and yearn to feed every day of your waking life. You may also think that Tuear is immortal, having seen the cycles of universes play out time and time again over a near infinite amount of years. But once again, you would be wrong. Though Tuear has outlived and outlasted everything else which has come before, it is not to live forever. With each passing century, its hearts all beat a little slower, its blood runs a little thinner through the millions of veins coursing through its body. Someday, Tuear will die, and the universe will be allowed to grow and ripen one last time, until it rots away like fruit plucked from a tree and left out in the rain. And then, there will be nothing. Finally, at last. Whether it is better to exist only to be consumed, or not to exist at all, is something you may decide. Tuear is unconcerned by such questions. Tuear does not know the fate which awaits it. Tuear does not think much of the future or the past, or feel concern over the present. Tuear simply waits in an almost eternally static moment, the forever ongoing now, until at last it can have the simple joy of eating once again. For now it is satiated. Our universe is still young, compared to those which came before it, and Tuear can still feel particles of the planets and stars it once consumed lining its vast innards. The very fabric of reality takes a long time to digest, after all, and Tuear will not begin to hunger for its next meal for many millennia to come. But someday, the hunger will return, growing stronger and stronger with each passing moment, and the universe will look ever sweeter and more delicious as it sits directly in front of Tuear's sets of eyes. And eventually, when it grows too hard to resist, Tuear will open its mouth and the process will begin once again. And on that day, everything you know, everything you have known or could have known, every creature that humans ever saw, every place they ever observed, every aspect of life as we understand it or will ever understand it, every single thing that we once knew of, and all those things that in our tiny reckoning we were never able to see or know or understand, all of it, down to the very last atom, will be sucked inside and consumed, never to be seen again. And only then will Tuear be satisfied. For some time, at least. Thank you for listening to Under 1000. I'm your host, Thomas Flower. To follow the show online, look for Under 1000 Pod on Twitter or Facebook, or check out the website at under1000pod.com. If you'd like to support the show on Patreon, go to patreon.com/under1000pod, where you can sign up to read each month's stories in advance, as well as to have a thank you be read during these credits. The theme music is an instrumental version of In Between Days by Nick Tate and the Sharks. To hear the full song, and more from the same EP, go to Nick Tate, Nictate, and thesharks.bandcamp.com, or search for them on your favourite streaming platform. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and that you'll join me again next time for some more super short fiction.